All right. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. It is Monday. Hey, I made it. I made it on Monday this week, and so it's still Monday moments. And I want to share with you actually something that we talked about. I talked about last Sunday, and that is with hope as we were talking about a Christian worldview and this article that was about 6 lessons in life to raise your happiness or what we'll get into it. I got it all down. But before we get there, I want to share with you scripture on how what God does for us. And so this is John 15:11. Jesus said, "These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full." And so we see that God is wanting us to have joy. Has given us words and commands and wisdom so that we would have joy. He says, "My joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full." Now, I mean, that's what God has done for you. That's what Jesus is doing for you, so that your joy will be full. He is working that out in your life. Okay, here's another one. John, again, 14:27. That one doesn't want to come up for some reason. Hold up. Hold up. Technology. Wonderful. Okay. Maybe not. It's decided not. It doesn't want to do the. Oh, almost. This is live, by the way, in case you didn't know. But this is John 14:27. Maybe it just needed a minute for the internet to catch up. Anyhow, it says talks about peace that Jesus leaves with peace, but not as the world gives. Here we go. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. The reason I bring up these two verses, I mean, we have joy there, we have peace right here, right? Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Again, Jesus' joy. My joy may be in you. Here he is. My peace I give to you. And it's not a peace of with the world, but a peace with God. And therefore, our hearts should not need to be troubled or afraid. So, I mean, just these two things themselves, which are just part of what God gives to us, joy and peace. Like, man, so much in our lives would be better, would be more fulfilled, would be more satisfied, be our happiness level would certainly increase, right, with God's joy and His peace, and last week we talked about hope, the hope in that, all that. So those are the things that God gives to us. So let's look at this article. This was see if these things will. Hey, it's working. All right. 6 life-changing lessons from the biggest studies on human happiness. Biggest studies on human happiness. And so there's the URL there if you would like to make sure that I'm being legitimate. I always thought this article would be interesting. One, in looking at things from a Christian worldview and seeing like, okay, how does the world come at these things? And so reading an article from there with a admittedly secular worldview, right? That is not with God, um, and what they had to say, and I was curious as to how it lined up with Scripture, and my thoughts before I read the thing. I thought that they would probably have some good stuff, and that it would most likely line up with Scripture, at least certain aspects of Scripture. And so let's look at these here. Oh, yeah, this is a quote before they started listening to 6 things. The findings suggest that even if you were to tick off every item on your wish list, it wouldn't keep you satisfied for long. the dopamine buzz wouldn't last because humans are wired to always want more. I think that's interesting. Wired to always want more. And yeah, that would be greed, which is definitely a part of our sinful nature, and which takes many different shapes, not just monetarily, but greed. Always want more. I mean, that is the definition of greed, and we are a greedy people. I mean, what's was it Pringles, right? You can't stop at just one, however it says, right? That sort of thing. Like, man, cake is good. More cake is better, right? What we want, and when we find out that it's good, we want more of it. And so, there's a tolerance that's built up, and which then pushes us to want even more. And it's because we start depending on those things. Man, there's Proverbs, but I really can't remember all of it, so I'm not going to fumble over it. But um, yeah, things that are never satisfied. Look it up. All right, so here's another quote. It says, well, this is my writing of their quote. We are on a hedonic treadmill, always returning to a baseline of happiness, no matter the ups and downs. On that hedonic treadmill. See, so those are their words that they use. Hedonic treadmill, which is definitely hedonism. So we see there at the bottom, hedonism. Here we go. Hedonism, a widely held theory of value that declares that pleasure is the highest intrinsic value. What are we seeking? We are seeking pleasure, right? So that treadmill, hedonic treadmill, always returning to a baseline of happiness, no matter the ups and downs. So how do we then increase that baseline? That's what this article is about. How do we increase that baseline? Well, let's find out. Number one, quiet quit on time-sucking activities. I couldn't quite figure out this quiet quit thing. I guess it's don't. They're kind of talking about don't make a big fuss about it, but really it came down to like at work, and like, hey, don't take on extra tasks that you don't necessarily need to, or stay late every single day, or whatever else sort of thing. But um, so not trying to do everything all at once all the time, but to put those things aside. And that certainly lines up with Scripture, as we've talked before about rest and needing rest. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. I mean, Scripture tells us again and again. And so, right, if we get involved in that work, that is a form of that greed coming out, and that workaholic tendency. So this is basically what that's saying. Don't be a workaholic. Some of you need to hear that. Number two, opt for variety over becoming an expert. So this is saying if you spend too much time on any one thing, you can start to get bored. And so just do a whole bunch of little things. Like, variety is the spice of life, as they say. Though that's not a quote that they said in the article, but for variety over things. So do all these little things, and that will stimulate your mind more. I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, when I'm learning something or really thinking about something, I mean, that's my whole focus, is just going in on this thing, and sometimes for the good and for worse. But so that's what it's saying. It's you will be able to trick your mind into being happier, to stop thinking about these other things if you do more variety. Is there a scriptural base for that? I mean, I don't think so. Honestly, is that like a good psychological advice? I mean, in one way, I don't think what they're saying is false. I don't think it's wrong. I don't think it's bad. Um, but I can tell you this. I have never been bored doing the work of God. And time of honesty and vulnerability here. Like, I actually was worried whenever I became a pastor and was going down this route of, what if I get bored and and decide I want to do something else. And I just had to accept, like, I really believe that God's calling me here. He's going to take care of it. And I can promise you, I have never been bored doing God's work. But variety, sure, yeah, why not? Number three, and try new things just for the fun of it. So, I mean, again, that kind of goes down to that same line, trying the new things, and just because it's fun, hey, let's do it. Why not? And I agree. I mean, it is fun to do new things. Sometimes, yeah, I look at stuff that goes on and say, oh wow, this will be a new experience. All right, let's go for it. And does that increase our happiness? I mean, again, it gets your mind thinking off of things. I think it's good too to be able to roll with the punches and be able to be adventurous. I mean, sure, why not? Four, rip up your current goals, write new ones. Why? Again, sometimes we get too fixated on and going back to reality of like it's a goal to be to write a 500-page book to whatever, like, okay, how about write 10 articles this year? Something a little more realistic, you know? So that's what that was talking about. And I thought this quote from there was very interesting. Basically, our brains aren't reliable estimators of how happy things will actually make us. Now that is a truth bomb right there. I tell you what. I mean, that's for real. Our brains aren't reliable estimators of how happy things will actually make us. We think things will make us happy, and then when we get it or do it, we realize, oh, this doesn't make me as happy as I thought it would. Why? Because nothing will satisfy us like God will. Okay, number five, tap into the de-influencing trend. I think this is very sound advice of like, get off of social media and thinking your life needs to look like social media. And that is absolutely line up with scripture of, right, don't covet, don't be jealous, don't look at your neighbor's stuff and be like, oh, I want that, I need that. You can say, oh, hey, that's some nice stuff. Maybe I could use that in my life, but to think that you are lacking, or like, I mean, that's it's all covetousness and jealousy, what scripture says, hey, don't do. And yes, social media is terrible about getting our minds in that frame of mind. Number six, start a book club. Don't invite your friends. That's just a funny title. These are all their titles. But that is, talk to people, different people, new people. Talk to people that are on the bus or on the train. These obviously Yankees who ride buses and trains, but people at the grocery store, or whoever else. Like, just making new connections in life. That's what it was about. And absolutely, that lines up with scripture. We are a relational people, and we are meant to uh, do things with others, and so we definitely need to be in community with other people. Definitely, that increases your happiness. I mean, we were made for that. So, is this article bad or anything? No, I wouldn't say it's bad. Not at all. And but you can definitely tell, right, when you think about those things. This is from a secular worldview, a hedonistic worldview. And here's a couple of things that it didn't say. And that's really the indicator. See, when you read it and you think, like, oh, okay, these are okay. But what didn't it say that scripture does tell us? Never said anything about religion, about being part of a religious community. Studies show people who are part of a religious community are happier in life. It never says anything about marriage or about family. Studies show people who are married, people with families, are relatively happier in life. None of that in there, right? Because you wouldn't want to tell people they need to get married or anything like that. And definitely there wasn't anything about, hey, put your eyes on God. You need to increase your happiness. How about this? Stop looking at yourself. And some of those things were sort of lending to that, right? But and the one thing that's going to make you happier than anything is giving your life to God and surrendering to Him. And then lastly, that do things for other people. That's times when I've been in a funk, and I'm a pastor, so I'm forced to do things for other people a lot of times, and I'm just being honest here. Okay, I mean generally I enjoy it, but there are times that I'm not too happy, and but I have to do things for other people, and I'm telling you, time and time again, I do things for other people, and all of a sudden that pulls me out of that funk, that pulls me out of that bad mood. So yeah, get your mind out of your own space and do something for somebody else. It's great, wonderful things. Um, so those are just a little further look into what the world tells us will make us happy, and not all those things are, it's not bad things that they're saying, but how much more that God offers to us and gives to us. So I hope this helps you to think about things that you hear and that you see, and to know, like, all the more how to think about things from a Christian worldview and in a Christian way and biblically, and even things you read like, oh, that's good, but here are biblical things that are missing, or that would be more complete. That would really be the right answer. So I hope that helps, and we'll see you again soon. Till then, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. All right, we'll see you.